Hey, good evening, everybody. Welcome to another great edition of Racers News Network Live. This is not the drag racing show. We are going to be talking about rally racing, road racing, autocross, rally sprint, and we're going to talk to one of the competitors from the Mount Washington Climb to the Clouds, local boy from Jefferson, New Hampshire, family-run racing team, family-owned racing team, big involvement with everybody in his family in the operation, including his wife, is actually one of his co-drivers too, and their little baby. We're going to talk about all of it, and it's brought to you tonight by Straight Line Performance and Automotive. So I would like to welcome our guest. Of course, I'm talking about Jamie Beliveau. How you doing, Jamie?
Good, and I wanted to thank you for having me on.
Oh, you're very welcome. So we spoke ever so briefly about rally in the States. It doesn't have as big a following in the States as it does overseas. With that being said, what drew you into specifically rally style racing? And go ahead.
Well, rally to me is something that I came into family wise. My dad helped start SCCA Rallycross in the New England region. So I came in young and I got to see it from that side. So it was more appealing than watching NASCAR as a little kid, right? We're sliding around on dirt. So it just clicked really early on. And I had helped gone out with him even earlier years and made like TSD rallies with him, helped them find the roads. And it was just a good experience. And it was good, quiet back roads. So everything about it was fun at a young age, and I just wanted to keep with it and go the next step at every stage of my life, it seems like.
Now, how long have you actually been racing and competing yourself?
That's a hard question. I mean, I started navigating for my dad in SCCA TSD road rallies at about 12, 13. Competitively, we went and started to do the seasons together around then. And by the time I was 16, it was, all right, I'm moving to my own car now, we're competition. So I have been driving since I was 16 competitively, but I started racing before that. I learned when I was 10 also. So
right.
The driving side has got years of development before I was licensed also.
Now, for people that aren't familiar with rally racing in general, not just in this country, but all, specifically, what does it take to put a rally car together compared to, a road racing car, an autocross car, something that there's no such thing as a simple race car, but something that's definitely a little bit more simple than, an autocross style car?
Yeah, I mean, autocrosses, they're pretty easy. You can take just about anything that's not top heavy and go do it. You don't need a skid plate because there's no rock risk. There's just very minimal needs to get by. You won't be the fastest, but you can start out with whatever. Going road racing, like, you start having to prepare a certain level of safety equipment for that, but I don't do too much of it, so I don't know how that would compare to a rally car. But the biggest thing is with rally cars is we've got a lot more safety equipment. We've got the underbody protection for the abuse the cars take. Then we've got big beefy suspension that it can also take the abuse. So there's a lot of things that go into developing a full-blown rally car.
Now, this Volkswagen Golf right here, that's your car. How long have you had it, and what number race car is this? Is this the first one you ever built, or?
If we're counting the ones with safety cages, that's number one. We, as boys growing up, me and my brother both had rallycross / daily drivers that were well suited and abused. But this is our first full blown, got a cage, we're ready to go hot through the woods and hope we don't throw it in the woods car.
There you go. Oh, that's awesome. Now you're involved with the rally sprints as well, that a lot of them tend to run at Team O'Neill up in Dalton, New Hampshire. Is that correct?
Yep, that's correct. I'm more involved in those as a competitor. My dad helps put them on. There as a competitor typically.
Now, compare a rally sprint to a pro rally, like, you know, the main forest rally or something like that? Is it the same idea, just on a smaller scale, or is it something that's completely different?
No, it's designed to be smaller scale, but everything else is run the same. We've got services that are certain length time wise. We've got transits. We use similar time cards to the full rallies. But they're all confined into one day, shorter stages, shorter transits. So it's more, you know, over the course of the day, you're constantly getting runs in. So it's nice. And the budget's much less.
Right. That's cool. Now, for a rally team, how many people does it take in the car itself, for those, you know, for those that aren't familiar with it? And what does the other person sitting in, as often referred to as the silly seat, what is their specific job to help you?
Yeah, rally's unique that we've got the co-driver. You know, there's not very many racing things where we have a driver that's willing to go as flat out as we are and put someone in the other seat at risk. But we can't do what we do on these roads without our co-drivers. They have a number system that's pretty descriptive of each corner. And there's also crests, there's bridges. We can make notes about if there's a rock in the road. So there's a very well descriptive system that they tell the driver where to go, so we can see the corners before we really see them. And you can vision them as you exit a corner, basically.
Right. And it just gives you that perspective a little ways down the road, pretty much.
Yeah, your mind is constantly kind of piecing the road together before you even hit it. So you know there's a crest coming right before a left four, or you know, whatever it is, you know how to set up before you even add it.
Very cool. Now, again, one of the unique things is that your racing operation is also a family operation deal. You mentioned your dad. Your entire family pretty much is involved in your racing. Is that correct?
Yep. When it comes to the Volkswagen, me and Dad built it together over one summer, crammed together. My brother Mike was over helping quite a bit too, and that was 8 years ago. So we've developed the car more throughout those years, but the three of us have built that car from the ground up to what it is now, and we're always still continuing to grow the car. And on the, like you said, mentioned earlier, my wife has started to co-drive for us at Rally Sprints. She did Mount Washington with me, and we'll probably be doing one event with me next year as well. Undecided on which event. I would like to do 3 events, but I'm not sure which event. I'm still picking.
Yeah. Now we have the Forest Rally up in Maine. What other events, specifically rally, not rally sprint, do you compete in?
Well, I do a lot of co-driving also. So the past 3 years, 4 years now, I've been co-driving with Louis Texera, and we always do NEFR STPR, and we added in Southern Ohio to the past 2 years. So we've been keeping it busy in the car with him, and I go pick other events to do with my car. I've kind of taken some time off from big events to save up and build for Mount Washington. But the plan is to do 3 large scale events next year.
Now, obviously, like I said, we've talked rally sprints. The big event, the Daytona 500, if you will, for rally racers in this part of the country is Mount Washington. What's it like doing that event as compared to doing a regular rally style event?
Much more laid back. There's less miles. You don't have to transit, nearly as much. So there's lots of time to just relax. When you are racing, it's an adrenaline rush like none other when you get above that tree line. So that's the thrill right there. There's less miles, but the road itself is worth it. It's a bucket list item for any racer.
And how many years have you competed at Washington?
That'll be my first year driving, and I co-drove in 2014. And
who did you co-drive for?
Ryan Wilcox with a 96 Subaru wagon with an STI drivetrain. So we did pretty good.
Nice. Now, your car is front wheel drive.
Yeah.
It's a Volkswagen. What's the difference between setting the car up to race on the dirt of the stages at the Forest Rally versus setting it up for the more or less, except for all but a mile of dirt? What's it like setting the car up for the pavement?
For us, it's pretty simple. We don't have like fancy suspension just for tarmac and switching back and forth. So to us, it's bolt some different tires on that are meant for tarmac. A little bit of adjustability in our spring perch just to bring the ride height down just a little. We don't have a very low car to start, so we can't gain a lot there. And we just did a good reprep to get it nice and clean looking, so it wasn't straight from the muddy gravel looking rally. It had a little more clean to it.
Right. Now, I know you had built a new engine before. I think it was right before the Forest Rally for the car. Is that correct?
No, we didn't run the car at the Forest Rally this year. We were still building the new motor. We got our new motor put together about a week and a half before Mount Washington, maybe 2 weeks. And I think I got like 70 miles on it, just driving around the North Country to break in the motor. It wasn't what we had planned, but I had some small issues I had to sort out. And so we pretty much broke that motor in at Mount Washington. That's kind of true Beliveau boys racing fashion. That's how the first motor got broken in. I was supposed to drive the car to Mount Escutney, and we had a brake caliper lock up. So we loaded on the trailer and raced it up the hill the next day on 5 miles.
Now, is it a 4-cylinder car, a 6-cylinder car?
No, we're still running the 4-cylinder AVA motor, 2-liter. We do have the supercharger on there, so it's pretty unique sound. Mount Washington was something new to us with the above tree line type atmosphere. We're used to echoing through the woods with our loud exhaust, and we had quite a few videos sent to us where it was, you could hear that supercharger whining high RPM up high in the sky, and then the exhaust as we faded away, and it was a pretty unique sound.
What's it like having your wife in the passenger seat with you?
It's a big long date weekend, right? When we go racing, we have fun together. We're still developing. We're kind of new in the car together. I've been doing this for a while. Me and Dad did most of my stage rally stuff together, so we developed our note system pretty well. But we're pretty young together in the car wise, so we're still working on that. But it's fun because she'll pick up on some driving errors, and there's a rally sprint where she was yelling at me for e-braking too much. So we help each other, but we have fun when we're racing.
Now let's talk a little bit about the rally sprint. Is there again any huge difference between setting the car up for a rally style event versus a rally sprint? My guess is that the setup is pretty much the same.
Yep. Same setup for us. We might adjust our brake bias a little bit just because Team O'Neill's pretty technical. Sometimes I mess around with stuff like that. We do have some new hot bit suspension on the rear of our car now that's got some adjustability, so we can start playing with settings while we're racing at Team O'Neill, trying to figure out how we like the car there so that we're not wasting time when we get to races and messing around with that. We already have some setup ideas. So we would use a rally sprint at this point for development, making sure suspension's where we want it. We've got some adjustability on our cam now, so we can tweak that, try and see if we can, we're not tuners by any means, so we can't look at a graph and say, oh, the power's hitting, but we can drive it up Team O'Neill's roads and say, oh, yeah, the power hit better here. So it's a good development day.
Autocross. Do you do a lot of autocrossing?
No, autocross is I've probably done 2 handfuls of them my whole racing career. Only a few.
Kind of go back to Team O'Neill a little bit. Now, I happened to look through your bio, and you did a little bit of driver instruction at Team O'Neill. Is that correct?
More than a little bit. I'm still working there. full time as a driving instructor right now.
Oh wow, very cool.
Yep. I was there early on, probably 16 through 17 part time, and then just came back this year full time as a driving instructor.
Very cool. What's it like working over there, teaching people how to throw these cars around in the dirt?
It's a blast. This is the one thing I'm the most passionate about. So to get to teach people how to do it, it's special to me. I got out of high school, went into college to become a teacher at first, and that kind of changed as my growing love for racing came in. So to be able to now teach people racing is just like a dream come true, really.
Now, the rally style racing, unfortunately, for what it is in the States, doesn't have the following like it does in Europe. I mean, it's come around a lot in the past 10 to 15 years, I guess. Why do you think that is?
Well, the last 4 or 5 years, when the R5 started showing up, that brought the heat to Subaru. So that brought a lot of fans in to see these top of the line cars. So that was, a good head start for the most recent spike in our rally. Then before that, we had just a good private teams racing for a while. So it provided good competition. And again, we had some pretty high caliber cars. That helps bring out fans. If it's just the small regional people, which we need, they help keep the numbers high and keep the events paid for so they can happen. But not all the fans want to see, the last 30 of us that are trying to hobble our Volkswagen through. And so having nice top of the line cars in the past 10 years has definitely helped.
What's it like being, just an average guy working 40 hours a week, looking over at somebody like Travis Pastrana or Ken Block and saying, I may be in a different class, but I get to race against these guys?
It's, it's kind of a privilege, but at the same time, it's cool to be able to, we joke about it, but if we do see him on the side of the road, as long as we finish, we just beat Travis Pastrana. So that's how rally works. Sometimes it is about who can finish the event, not who's the fastest. So even though they might have broke because they hit something at a speed that we can't even think about doing, or they just pushed where we shouldn't have, it's still a cool feeling sometimes when you get to say that and you did it. But at the end of the day, when they finish and you get to look at your times and you say, wow, I feel like I was hauling, but they were doing this. It's cool to see how fast these guys can push. And to know I've got the opportunity to try and chase those. We're on the same roads the same day. They're not doing their thing and then letting the regional people do it later on or the next day,
Yeah, you're right there, helmet to helmet, glove to glove against these guys.
Yeah, and sometimes, the stage rallies, when we have a turnaround stage, that's the best chance for us other drivers to get to know them, talk with them, just be people. They don't have the crowds of people around them out there in the woods.
Right. And I've had the opportunity to meet. I've never met Ken Block. I've had the chance to meet Travis Pastrana 3, 4, 5 times now, and you really truly couldn't ask for a nicer guy. You just walk up and he's one of the guys. He's not, the celebrity with the aura around him and everything. He's just a person.
Yeah, that's pretty much everyone says the same thing. I might be losing you, but yeah, I've met them both. Travis, real nice guy. He even let me get in with him at Mount Washington in his private trailer to do some sim racing at Mount Washington. So to just be, oh, here's another driver that wants to try this out. Sure, come with me, drop what you're doing. That's a cool experience. And that he's that willing to treat other drivers that nicely. Versus, other drivers are not so, it's bigger in their head and they don't give the time to other drivers to just chat or just do this or that.
Now, Rallycross. We seem to have a big Rallycross following up here in the Northeast. Have you ever had the chance to get out there and mix it up in the cones and the dirt?
Yeah, when I turned 16, that was where I was first competitive. I think I won 2 season-long championships, runner-up several years. I probably did 7 or 8 years of real strong competition every event. No matter what I started with a 1991 Saab 900, moved through a second one of them, then went to Subaru for a few years. At one point, I actually had Subaru of Keene. That was pretty much a full ride sponsorship for 2 seasons, rallycrossing. So that was, I did a lot of rallycross for sure. I still go once or twice a year.
Right. Yeah, like I said, it just seems that I like the Rochester Rallycross. That's probably one of my favorites. I mean, I've only been to a couple anyways, but that one I enjoy just because of, it's that big wide open area and fairgrounds, and it's got a lot of mud in it, and who knows what else is mixed up in that dirt. But I enjoy that event. And I mean, you guys have got a hell of a Rallycross coordinator in Kathy Moody.
Yeah, everyone on the team for the NER crew, we couldn't have the events we have without them. They put their time in. I've seen it, the backside of it. I watched, when my dad started this stuff, I was like 10. So I watched how many hours he was putting in behind the scene on conference calls, on his laptop, putting this in. And it takes a lot of work. And over the years, I've taken on, I put on, I think 3 TSD rallies now since I've had a license. One was even for my high school as a fundraiser. When I was very active with Rallycross, I organized a couple of testing tunes. So I've tried to take in some of that organizing side and see what it's about. Help out the community. We all just need more places to race. So
very cool. Now going back to Team O'Neill a little bit, what's it like being able to work for, a former world rally champ, like Tim O'Neill?
It's a pretty cool experience. I've known Tim since I was young, so it's kind of normal at this point. I spent a lot of time up in this neck of the woods too. And he's really not there that often now. He's kind of doing his thing off-site now. But he's still around. He was there today doing some private testing. Not sure I'm supposed to say that, but sorry, Tim.
Now, as an instructor, if you can say it, who's the coolest person that you've had the chance to get behind the wheel with to show them how to do it and instruct them?
I think everyone's got their own different reason for that. Really, like, we have father sons that come up to do it. So I see a little of me and my dad when I was young. I see mom out there trying to learn so she can keep up with whoever. And then I see, Ken Block's wife and daughter just recently, so we get them all. None of them are more special than the other. Sometimes the stories that last longer are so-and-so who crashed me on Monday, or, oh man, so-and-so did it bigger to you on Tuesday. Like,
right. Cool. So what does the rest of 21 hold for you and your team?
We're going to be at the rally sprint this fall. Late this fall, there'll be a rally sprint at Team O'Neill. We'll be there doing some testing, trying to figure things out for next year. Not sure we're going to squeeze too much more in other than that. There's just not too many rallies this way that fit our timeline. And then next year, hoping to squeeze 2 Canadian events, then 1 ARA. Just haven't decided which.
That was going to be my next comment, is I imagine the border had kind of squashed a lot of people's plans.
Yep, that was my original plan, was going to Canada this year. It took longer than expected for the border to open, and I didn't want to go up and do one event late this year and then do another event next year. I'd rather try and do them all in one season and see what comes of it. At this point, I don't have any hopes for like any type of championships up there. So pick and choose what events, roads look like, what I want to race at this point, and just go up and get an experience. I'm going to try and do the CRC events, which are national level. So it'll be my first time coming up to a national level as a driver.
Cool. Going across the border, I've heard a lot of horror stories. What is it like trying to cross the border with a race car?
I've only done it once. It wasn't with my car. I was co-driving for Vittorio, a guy with an Audi from New Hampshire, who went up for a winter rally. Um, Pretty easy, really. We actually had more difficulty coming back into the US with it because I had brought my own seat with us. And before we left the hotel, I unbolted it. And they thought we were bringing in new goods from the Canadian side of things. So we had to get on my email and search up years ago to find the receipt for a seat.
How about your sponsors that help you guys out and make your racing effort happen?
Yep. So this year we had quite a few new ones come on board to help us out with Mount Washington specifically. We had Little Village Toy and Bookstore in Littleton, New Hampshire. They were kind of our big sponsor for the event. Mr. Pizza over in Gorham is a family restaurant. They helped
Love
out.
that restaurant.
Yes, great restaurant. Competition Tires New England helped us out with a really good deal on some pretty nice tires compared to what I was used to running on tarmac. Beliveau Woodworks helped us out for this one. And 7th Street Graphics donated quite a few autograph cards for us to hand out at Mount Washington, which helped get our name out there. So we did pretty well for sponsors for this event. We'd like to grow that for next season. Those were this year. We got to find ones for next year.
Right. And now I have to ask, we kind of touched on this a little bit earlier, but racing with your wife and her navigating, is it ever like driving down the highway and she's giving you directions and you just did something and she just wants to reach over and just dope slap you for doing it?
Well, see, we get that out of the way when we go do TSD rallies. That's where we have time for that. When we're on the stages, there's not time for it. If we mess up, back to business, let's go. We'll deal with it after the finish line. And then there might be a little heated moment where we, turn the mics off and discuss what went wrong between whoever. Maybe I made a wrong turn or, I just shoved it in the ditch and had to grab reverse or she was a note off. Like we discuss it and we move on from there. We don't spew on it for the next stage and let it grow. But it's fun. Like, on the TSD rallies, we have a blast sometimes. We miss a turn and that's my excuse, wink, wink, to go faster. So, once in a while, my short memory might come in handy and we might blow by a corner or something. She finds it not as amusing as me going faster.
That's awesome. Now, what's I've heard the saying a long time ago, real cars on real roads going real fast with in regards to rally. Now, what is the biggest off you've ever had and how bad was it?
It's hard to tell. I've had two big ones now. One with my car at STPR, I think 2015, 16 era, somewhere around there. We had a big front end impact that stopped us pretty dead against like a drainage berm that had some big blocks hidden in it. It just looked grassy at first. So that one, I had some bruising from the harnesses, some soreness. And then my other big one was with Louis Texair in 2019, where at New England Forest, we had a control arm fail on us. And we went off on a left 5+ doing about 100, somewhere around 100, still hard on the accelerator. And we had some small trees that we tumbled through sideways, front, back, just about every way I think possible. Came through a rest, kicked out the windshield, and was fine. I didn't end up with any bruises. So I had one that was like a big abrupt hit. There was we had a little bit of front end crushed in, but other than that, it was no big deal to us at first. And then I had one where we rode off the Subaru and didn't feel anything really. It was just, well, that was an experience. I think in the audio of us rolling, you can actually hear me say, and we're rolling.
Now, the safety equipment that you have to wear, obviously you have the fire suit, the helmet. Are you guys required to wear a Hans or one of the hybrid style neck braces?
Yeah, most certainly. Pretty much any high-speed automobile race at this point, it's a requirement.
Awesome. Yeah, it's I had the chance to see your car up close, talking with you for a few minutes at Mount Washington, and my son's goal, he's 18, he wants to go to the Forest Rally next year, so that's something we're definitely planning on hitting. And of course, Mount Washington's only 3 years normally. Now, are they going to go a 2 year gap because of COVID, or are they going to stretch it out to 2024, I should say?
I haven't heard yet. To be determined. We'll be watching.
Right. Have you ever done any of the pavement rally stuff? Like, what is that? Empire State's pavement rally. Have you ever done those?
I did co-drive for my father when they did the Empire State Tarmac event over in New York, but that was like 1 year event, and then it disappeared. They had a hard time keeping the road secure. There were some issues. I've done some hill climbs other than Mount Washington that are tarmac, but if there were to be a tarmac event within hauling range, I would be there in a heartbeat.
That's right. Because also we have the New England Hill Climb Association. How many or any of those events do you get the chance to run?
It depends on the year. Last year, I squeezed in 2 events with them. This year it was just Mount Washington. Some years it's pretty. I do 3, 4 because it's it's kind of like doing a rally sprint to me. Same type of miles, similar entry fee. Just one road versus getting 3 different stages, and it's a blast.
Well, that was awesome. God, I think we covered everything. It's fun doing this stuff because this is stuff that I've been off and on with for 25 years, whatever. More so as a spectator, and a worker and everything. Normally, I do a lot of stuff with drag racing. I do a lot of photography, media, and just trying to do something a little bit different, that, like I said at the top of the show, unfortunately, a lot of these events don't get the coverage in this country that they do overseas, unless it's Pikes Peak or something like that. And unfortunately, even Mount Washington being, one of the oldest motorsports event in the country, doesn't get the kind of coverage that it deserves, I guess.
I definitely agree. It used to have ESPN, NBC. Somebody would film it back in the 90s. I remember being able to get it on VHS after, or find the right channel if we were lucky and catch it. I'd love to see that event back on TV. It is a special event to New Hampshire, at least. So to not have it on TV is kind of a bummer to me. I could use the publicity, to be honest. So I'll always vote for, we need more people helping get the sport out there in the US. It needs the publicity. We look in Europe and the people flock to this sport. It just appeals to everyone. So I can't understand why we don't have every redneck out on the side of the road watching, and every type of person out there. Like, someone's got to find a way to appeal to this.
Well, so it was a lot of fun. It was a great event. I enjoy it. I'm hoping to get to the Forest Rally next year, and but we're going to keep talking to you guys for as long as we can, and just do our little part to try and help out.
Perfect. We all appreciate it.
All right, Jamie Beliveau, thank you very much for coming on and hanging out with us. I appreciate it. It was awesome to talk to you about your family racing and about your car and about all the different stuff you do. Being an instructor at Team O'Neill. Best of luck this year, and maybe we'll catch up. I'm trying to convince my son to go to the rally sprint with me at Team O'Neill. So
perfect. Yeah.
All right.
Hopefully,
your little one approves of that. I take it.
Yeah,
Is he right there watching you?
He's in the back room, but every time he hears rally or car, he gets excited. So
Now, how old is your is a little boy, right?
yeah, little boy Xander, he's 2.
Very
He'll,
cool.
he'll be 2 in November. So in dad
Yeah,
years, he's 2.
gonna steer him into some racing when he gets old enough.
I don't think I have to do much steering. He's already pretty strongly. He doesn't go anywhere without 3 Hot Wheels at the moment. So
Oh, really?
I think he's gonna follow the Beliveau gene down the cars.
That's very cool. All right, man. Well, thank you for taking the time out of your day. I know it's tough with the little one, and I really appreciate it.
We appreciate it too. Thank you very much.
All right, Jamie, have a great night, and we'll talk to you soon.
Bye.
All right, Jamie Beliveau, our guest tonight on Racers News Network Live. Check out Climb to the Clouds on Facebook. Oh, actually, before you take off, Jamie, real quick, if somebody wants to follow your racing action, where can they find you?
Pretty much any social media at this point. Beliveau Boys Racing is what you want to look up. Instagram, Facebook, YouTube. I think we even have a little bit of TikTok started. So
Awesome. Well, very cool. Thank you very much, man.
thank you. Have a good
You're
night.
welcome. Have a great night. And I'll put the link up for his for the Beliveau Boys Facebook page, and be sure to check it out. And like I said, Climb to the Clouds. Check out American Rally Association on Facebook. And that's it, man. We are out of here. Have a great night.
Bye.
All right. All right, everybody. Thank you for tuning in, checking us out. We'll be back Monday night with the drag racing show, and we'll be back in 2 weeks with another road racing or rally race person. We'll be talking to y'all soon.